What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Scares. That's right. We're back at it on a month-long journey throughout the nightmares. We've spoken about the first, we've spoken about the second, and even the third REC film, but now we're talking about the fourth and final REC film called REC 4 Apocalypse. There will not be a fifth film, according to the creator of the series. So let's see if this is a good concluding chapter, and let's get cracking. REC 4 Apocalypse takes place on a boat this time, and immediately after the events of the second REC film. Angela Vidal is back at the forefront as the ship and the people on board it try to scientifically engineer an antidote for the virus that has affected the apartment complex and the wedding seen in the first three films. I like this film. I want to be a little bit apprehensive there because it definitely is a little bit different in terms of its approach versus the other ones, but it does tie everything into a little bit of a neat bow. I knew that it would have Angela Vidal again, and it would take place immediately after the events of the second film, but I was actually quite happy and a little bit surprised to see a member of the wedding from the third film in the film as well. That especially helped this film feel like a truly conclusive movie. Where it differs from the others though is more in terms of staying away from the religious angle that we've seen in all three movies before. It was originally this possession story where the one possessed controls the rest of the zombies, and reading from the Bible does something very interesting against them. And so the first three movies did a great job upping the ante in that department, while this fourth film was like, okay, enough of that. Let's now talk about science and biology and creating an actual antivirus to essentially save the world. Another thing that happens in this movie that's potentially a negative for certain audience members is what they essentially do with Angela Vidal's character. Now, I'll have to spoil the ending of the second movie in order to explain what I'm talking about, so shut your ears if you haven't seen that film. But if you haven't seen the second film, what the heck are you doing watching a review for the fourth? That's on you. But at the end of the second movie, Angela Vidal was possessed by the leader at the very end of that movie, allowing her and it to escape captivity. So throughout this movie, she's more or less just acting like herself, which is not how she was acting at the end of REC 2. The possession, or I guess the parasite, is spoken about in this movie. I'm not saying that they ignore it entirely, but it would probably have a little more significance and focus if the film kept going the religious route. I say all that because personally, I did like the shift that they had into more of a technical and scientific explanation. It needed something a little bit different in order to close everything out. And all things considered, I think that it did a fairly decent job. I think overall, my favorite film in the saga is probably the third one. I know it's a little bit of a hot take, but I enjoyed that film because of the romance angle, which was very different and a lot of fun for me. The main negative though that I have for REC 4 is the editing. It gets to be very choppy when the action amps up. It's also pretty zoomed in, it's really hard to tell what's going on, and I hate when films do that. Keep things wide and steady if something integral is happening on screen so that your audience understands it. Shaking the camera around as much as you do doesn't amp up tension, and I only really like shaky cam with found footage, which this is not. I scored REC 4 Apocalypse a B letter grade, final overall score of 76%, 76 out of 100 possible stars. Overall, that just means that this film is decent. But if you're wondering where I ranked it in the franchise as a whole, it's getting the Bronze Award, third best, but again, there's only 4 of them. It goes like this, from least to best: REC 2, REC 4, REC 1, and REC 3. I like REC 3, like I said. But that's my ranking, at least for me. But what about you guys? Are you a fan of this horror series? Why or why not? And how would you rank all these films? Let me know, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next installment for Interpreting the Scares. And until then, peace out.